Well, welcome to another interview, and it's great to have Rab Wilson with us. So, Rab, good to have you. And just tell us a bit about yourself and your family.
My name's Rab Wilson. I'm a member at Hamilton Road Baptist Church. I was born in March 1957, although I don't look at Keith, do I got married in 1978 to Margaret, 42 years ago. And the family is Mark, Ren, and Julie, who are grown up children now. And I've got 6 grandchildren, aged from 8 to 3, and another one due in July. We moved to Bangor in 1982 and started to go to Bangor Elim Church then. And I worked for Royal Mail for 33 years, and now I work for a pharmacy. I'm a delivery driver for a pharmacy. I've been doing that for about 8 years. And I really enjoy football, but like yourself, Keith, I follow a team that didn't win very much for years, but now we're winning everything. It's Man City.
Who?
And that's Man City, you know who they are, no? So that's my team, and that's basically it, Keith.
Great. So, Rab, tell us about growing up. You said that you were born in Belfast. Tell us about life there. And even growing up, what do you think about Christianity and what do you think about Christ?
Right. Well, look, I was brought up on the Shankill Road, so then in the probably 60s, 70s, most people went to Sunday school. My parents weren't Christians themselves, but they always sent us to Sunday school every Sunday. And with some great teachers there who took a lot of time with the kids and spent a lot of time with them. And we always heard the gospel and knew Jesus loved us. But really, Keith, to be honest with you, I haven't really got an awful lot of time for Christianity because my love was just football. And Sunday school was 3 to 4. There used to be a program on, it wasn't much a day. It was Sunday football was on, and it was always between 3 and 4. So it was always a bit of a challenge to get me to go to Sunday school, but I went most weeks and I really enjoyed it. My mum and dad, as I say, weren't Christians, but they were good, hard-working people who provided for us well. And that was basically the early days. I then went to secondary school, and I went to secondary school about 1968. I went to a school called Ballycamartin, Belfast, and it was then, Keith, that I really stopped going to Sunday school completely. And to be honest with you, I had no interest in Christianity at all at that stage. I got involved with a group of lads there who enjoyed playing football. I played for the school team and things like that there. But when I left school at the age of 15, I went into an engineering firm and worked there for a year as a boy labourer. And then I started to serve an apprenticeship when I was 16. And at that time, Keith, it probably was the first time I got a wee bit of money. And with Erin, I was able to go out, and at that stage, it was about 15, 16. It was the time when I started to go out, maybe having a few drinks and trying the things that other lads were getting involved in the Shankill Road area at that time. And really, when I look back on my life, I probably think at that stage, 15 to 16, was a crossroads in my life, because when I left school in 1972, I think it was actually the worst year ever in the Troubles. And there was something like nearly 500 people were murdered in Northern Ireland that year. And at that time, Keith, a lot of young lads and friends of mine were getting involved in paramilitaries. And but I always had a feeling, even though I wasn't a Christian, that Sunday had control of my life. And I couldn't understand this because I never got involved in any of that stuff.
Yes. So then, what made you become interested in Christianity, and what sparked that interest, and how did you then become a Christian?
Well, I became a Christian. It was 1974, and the World Cup was on. Then again, football theme came, Keith, because that was what really was the most important thing probably in my life. Then was football. And I remember my brother saying to me that he was playing football a few nights with a few guys in the park in Glencairn Park, and he said, "Rob, why don't you come down and play a game with us?" And I hemmed and hawed for a few weeks, and then they eventually went down and I played with these guys. But really, Keith, there was something really different about them, and I couldn't put my finger on what it really was. And I found out later that they were Christians, there was about 4 of them were actually Christians. And, you know, I had no idea who these guys were until I went down to play football, but they made me so welcome. And they actually spoke quite openly about their Christian faith. And then I started to think a wee bit about the things of God, where before that I had no interest whatsoever. They then invited me to go along to the Salvation Army, which to me was a bit random because they wore uniforms. To me, it seemed a wee bit dated. But I went along, and at first it probably was a bit of a joke. You know, it's just going messing about things I got there. But then I started to realize that these guys had a real peace and a real joy, and that was something that I never had, and that was that peace and joy. And it started to really attract me to Christianity. I then went to a service they had, special service in Queen's University, and it was there on a Sunday night where they had at the front of the church what they called a mercy seat. And when I went to the service, it was as if the speaker was just speaking to me directly. It was as if everything he said knew everything about my life and the things I got up to as a young lad. And at the end of that service, he made the appeal, and I went forward to the mercy seat. And there, a guy led me to the Lord, and I gave my heart to the Lord. And that was a complete change in my life. The change in my life at that time was unbelievable. My friends and relatives couldn't believe the difference in me. And that was basically when I became a Christian.
Brilliant. And tell us a bit more, Rab, what difference has Christ made in your life through all these years? Obviously, you can't go into everything, and I'm sure life hasn't always been easy, but what difference has Christ made in your life?
Well, I sometimes wonder, Keith, where would I ended up? Because I said to you, in the early 70s, I had friends who got involved in paramilitaries, different groupings. I had friends who I went to school with who, shortly after they left school, were shot and killed, some by security forces, some by other people. And when I look back at my own life and think of the near misses I had in life, when I was involved in different situations, I sometimes wonder where would have I ended up if I hadn't met the Lord. I just don't know. And but the thing about it was, Keith, I always think about the difference that God made in my life. In the early times, the early stages, some of your friends left you, but you got other friends. But the thing about God is He's always with you. It says in His Word that He'll never leave us or forsake us, and I found that to be so true right through my life. I'll give you an example. One time I had an issue with my bladder, and I went to hospital for a scan, and the hospital told me I had a growth in my bladder, and got a letter to go to the hospital to go in for the operation. And at that stage, Keith, I had a young family, and I was married to Margaret, and I was really concerned. And on the Sunday night prior to going to hospital, we have a room very similar to Hamlet Road Baptist. I love to see people get in there for prayer on a Sunday morning. And it was very similar to that. So I went up for prayer, and the pastor's wife prayed for me, along with another member of the church. So I went to hospital the next morning, early, got ready for the operation, went down to theatre, had the operation, and then I woke up later in recovery. And the doctor came around that evening and he says to me, "Robert, I have a bit of news for you." I said, "What is it?" He says, "I went in to do the operation on you today and I couldn't find the growth." He says, "The growth wasn't there." In the words he used, he says, "I did a bit of hoping about," and he says, "I couldn't find it." He says, "I just don't understand." He says, "We did a scan on you. There was a growth there," and he says, "It's not there now." He says, "And I can't explain that." So I really believe, Keith, that God healed me. You know, I went up for prayer the day before, and the next day went for an operation, and everything was all clear. So it's things like that there where you say to yourself, what and how do people live without God? You know? So given my life, Giving my life to Jesus was probably the best thing. Well, let's say probably it was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
No, thanks for that, Rob. So helpful, and I'm sure you could share a lot more. I'm sure your boys would say that you've been very brief tonight. Um, but tell us, have you any final words that you'd like to share, or even verses for somebody who's watching or listening, either does know you or doesn't know you, and that's just on your heart?
Yeah. Well, there was a wee course. Margaret used to sing in a gospel group years ago, and there was a wee course, and it made me think about the days we're living in now, where people have so many concerns about their job, about their finances, about their health, about their mental well-being. And the wee chorus of this song goes, "Cast your burden upon the Lord, and He will sustain you. His love has no end. He will always be your friend. And cast your burden on the Lord." And I would say to people tonight, if they don't know Jesus, one of my favorite verses in the Bible is John 3:16. Simple. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." And my prayer tonight would be that someone who listens to this would come to know and have faith in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing, Rob. I thought you were going to sing that song to us, and so I'm glad that you didn't. We'll have to get Margaret on. But
Yeah, well,
just for anybody who is watching, if you would like to find out more about Rab's story, do contact us, and we'd be glad to put you in touch with him. If you'd like to find out more about Christianity, just let us know, and we'd be glad to help you to explore that. So, Rab, good to have you. Thank you.